Alright, today I'm going to show how to do an oil change on the OM654 finally. Tools you're going to need, 3/8 ratchet, extension, and a 27mm socket for the oil filter. So that's why I have the extension. I'm going to need a 10mm hex for the oil drain plug, and then optionally a zip tie and some cutters and a 17mm wrench for a little tip or trick that I want to share, which is how I do the oil filter removal in a quite a bit cleaner method. So let's just get right into it. Oh, you're also going to want a flathead screwdriver or a 7mm socket. So flathead screwdriver, oh, that wasp nest. Flathead for the intake tube here. Get that loosened. And then you'll want to move the air box. So to do that, you need to remove this jump terminal. There's a little button right here, and then you just lift up. Same thing over here on the oil filter, as well as on this knock sensor. So get all three of these out of your way. You can tuck this right there. That kind of just keeps it there. Move this and then lift up on your air box. Your goal is to get this up and out without overstretching this harness here, as last thing you want to do is damage it. You don't necessarily want to unplug it either. It'll just store a fault for the mass airflow sensor. So get that up like so, push it backwards. These rubber bushings are pretty grippy, so make sure that's back on your air box. And then all you got to do is just move it to the side like so. Once you have the air box out of the way, you can then take this, and I personally like to put it right here while I do the oil filter. So this is where these optional things come in. You don't need to do this step, but as you can see, pretty tight clearance getting that oil filter housing out. So what I do is go right through this bracket here to get around this harness, and then this will kind of pull the harness back and out of my way. I don't necessarily recommend leaving that on there, as it does add a little bit of tension to it, and wire harnesses like being relaxed. So I don't clip this, I just leave it there so I don't forget it. And then the other optional thing is undoing this exhaust gas temperature sensor for your EGR. So that's a 17mm. I'm yet to have any of these be stuck, obviously because they're so new, but it really does seem like these aren't going to be seizing too easy. They come undone really nice. So move that out of the way. Definitely don't forget to put that back in, but as you can see here, ton of room now to get that straight out. Now your 27mm and extension. So you want to loosen it and get the oil draining out of it so that most of it's drained off before you pull it all the way out, and that's the easiest way to avoid any type of bigger mess. Alright, so I'll let that sit there for a minute. You can loosen your oil cap. You can even leave that in there while you drain the engine oil, and that'll give it time to avoid any type of bigger mess. So we'll just do that. We'll go ahead and raise the vehicle and get the engine oil draining real quick. Alright, now you're going to want your 10mm. By the way, I just got this on Saturday from Dustin at Toolbox tours. He just came and did an updated Toolbox tour of my box on his YouTube channel, Toolbox Tours. So if you're not familiar with that, go ahead and check out his channel. It's pretty cool. Huge fan of it. It's got some really cool Toolbox tours on there. And he also gave me a shout out on my channel, so figured it was only fair to do in return. So go ahead and break in that free ratchet he gave me to do the Toolbox tour. So 10mm hex, some gloves, I like gloves. So if you're doing this on the ground, make sure you have an oil catch that drains fast. I've seen catches with like the small drain hole, and the drain plug on this 654 engine, it dumps really quick. So if your catch isn't draining fast enough, you'll have an overflow problem, and I'd hate to see you have a pretty big mess. So I'll go ahead and show you that here. 10 mil. Jeez. Why is that so tight? Goodness. Get that broke loose. This is this vehicle's first service at 5,000 miles, so I'm also not sure why there's any type of oil around the drain plug there. 2023. Alright, that's literally been like less than a minute. And it's already all drained out, so it is really fast again. Make sure you have the right oil catch. Can't stress it enough. I've actually seen one of the videos I actually watched on YouTube. The guy almost had a huge mess. Make sure you get the right crush washer for this new engine. It's quite a bit larger in diameter and skinnier versus like the older 642, which fits right inside of that. So yeah, make sure you get the right crush washer. Don't recommend reusing the old one. So get that on there. And then torque spec for the drain screw to oil pan is 30 Newton meters, as all of them seem to be, and then 25 Newton meters for the oil filter housing. I'll also include a better, easier to see screenshot from that when I edit. So that's drained off plenty. Go ahead and get that back into place. $30 Newton meters. It's really not tight. I understand that Mercedes does it how they do it for a reason, but 40 just feels a little better to me. So 30 to 40 Newton meters, it's a personal preference. I just don't feel like 30 is quite enough. When I go to 40, I can actually feel the crush washer crush. This is just brake clean in a refillable sprayer. I'll go ahead and lower the vehicle down. Alright, now we can remove the oil filter. I like to take a rag. It's just a little drip prevention. They really did pack this thing in there, so they've made a mess quite a few times, not gonna lie. But if you let it drain off long enough, you should be good. So as you can see, got that filter out. Let's go ahead and replace the filter and the O-ring on the cap. So the filter comes with an O-ring here on the bottom. Go ahead and lubricate that. And a new O-ring for the cap, which goes into this groove right there. You definitely don't want it in this one here or there. Make sure it's in the right groove. Now, me personally, I put the filter in first. You can see right down in there where this aligns. So I'll line that up first. It kind of redirects itself. Like, it's pretty hard to put it in wrong. So get that in place. Lubricate your O-ring. And then you kind of have to force the cap down to where that pops into the filter there. A little bit of a struggle bus. Alright, so just get that lined up and then push down on the cap. Threads are started. Grab your socket, ratchet, snug. Honestly, I typically leave it about that tight, but if you want to do it to the torque specification, turn this to 25. Don't over tighten the filter. I always stress that quite a bit. There's no need to be over tightening it. You risk cracking the cap, flaring the seal, or just causing issues that will make it leak, versus if you were to just go down to where it touches, the O-ring does a great job of sealing it off. Now that we got the filter in, we can get that temp sensor back in and cut that zip tie. There you go. Oil filter's replaced. Now we want to get the air box back in. Pull it in like so. And then you can just kind of squeeze this down into place like that. Make sure you get that back into place and tightened. Get your jump terminal back in. Oil filter or filler neck. And knock sensor. And then the filling capacity of this engine is 10 liters and 10 liters. What is 10 liters to quarts? Is 10.57 quarts. I always do 10.5 and that's perfect. Never over full for me, never under full. So we'll go ahead and do that. Make sure it's 5W30 diesel oil, 229.52. You don't want to put a 5W40. I do see that quite a bit when people get like their oil changed at, say, Big O or Jiffy Lube. They'll have a sticker on their windshield that says oil done is 5W40, and I'm always like, that's not good, don't do that. I've had to do quite a few oil changes just to correct that for customers. So 10.5, 10.5, obviously if you don't have a gun you're going to use quart jugs, but the idea is the same. Alright, got it filled with oil. And then there was a little bit of oil buildup on this already, maybe from oil top-offs before getting a service done. So I'll go ahead and clean things up a little. Even gonna brake clean it out. Okay, so now we have the oil change portion done. we can go ahead and reset the service reminder. Since I did just do an A service, I topped off the diesel exhaust fluid, windshield washer fluid, checked the brake fluid, added a little bit of engine coolant, did an overall multi-point inspection. I have a video specifically for resetting the service reminder, but I'll go ahead and show it here as well. Key position 1, hold the back button for 2 seconds, and then hit the OK button while holding the back button. One cool thing, really quick, is you can go into vehicle data and see a whole bunch of additional item menus, including like oil level in quarts and oil temperature, how much to refill, but I don't necessarily recommend following that, and if you need to add oil, only add when it tells you to. So go ahead, go down to Assist Plus, Ignition 2. A service was overdue by 37 days, but this only has just under 6,000 miles. Full service, confirm. I did 229.52 oil, which is the 5W30 diesel. Confirm. Now the service reminder is reset. We can go ahead and start it. And even see what this says as far as oil level goes. Right now it says 11.5 quarts, but we obviously just put in 10.5. So maybe it needs to refresh a little. All good there, no oil leaks. There we go, it's updated now. It says 10.4 quarts. And that is a different oil level menu in comparison to the one in service. Right now it'll probably tell me, yeah, drive until the engine is warm, and then it'll give you the oil level there. So that's how you do the oil change on the OM654 diesel engine in 23 and up Sprinters. If you've enjoyed this, go ahead and give the video a like, subscribe to my channel, and comment any suggestions you have down below.